Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a review of My Friend's Little Sister Has It In For Me, Episode 4. Now, in the words of Cosmo from The Fairly Odd Parents, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Nickelodeon shows of all time, there was a thing that, in the words of Cosmo, what he would always say when every time we do a flashback, it's this: "Yay, flashback!" Yes, we're doing a flashback episode of how the main girl, Uraha, became what she is. Now, this is a rom-com vibe, so we all know how rom-coms are supposed to be, to a point where how did these two meet? And that happens a lot in some rom-coms. Every rom-com that have the vibe where it's just like how these two met, where it all started, and to a point where we sat down and said, oh, so this is how they met. And we get that certain vibe thing going on in this episode. Now, after last week with a big cliffhanger, we realized Ora was supposed to be part of the Fifth Floor Alliance. She was just like set in as you're just part of the Fifth Floor Alliance, like you just there. Didn't even like that was a big twist. That was a twist. But this is one of those characters where I trust, and I'm saying it loud because I don't think people believe me when I say this. Characters that do a 180, I understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from. See, that right there is the defined definition of a character development that Uraha went through. And not only that, this 180 character, it's like watching this episode made me feel like she completely turned to a 180 in a heartbeat. She went from this to this, and it take a short period of time. Unlike somebody who trash-ass character in My Hero, whose name I don't want to bring up, that piece of shit, cockroach-looking mother, you know what, I ain't gonna go into that. But this episode, my friend Little Sister Has It In For Me, I'm gonna cover it. So without further ado, let's get right to it, episode 4 review. Because, guys, I'm going to tell you something. After this episode, I'm probably going to do a video about someone very important. But this week, but just stay with me. Anyway, let's go. Okay, so this is a flashback episode, everyone. This is a flashback episode. It's nothing crazy, nothing tedious, nothing like crazy. But this is about Uraha and her brother Ozuma. Well, Ozu, or Ozuma, whatever you call it. You see, the brother and sister, Uraha and Ozu, talk about a 180. The first episode we watched, we saw how Uraha is so energetic, free gifted, free spirited girl, just trolling and teasing our beloved MC. And Ozu is just a guy, just a random quiet boy who just goes to the science club and just makes stuff. Never had any friends. But this showed us how the MC, Akiteru, and Ozu met for the first time. You know, and it's really nice. You know, this is his first friend, how it all started. Because Ozu was just a quiet guy who just count tiles. His brain is all math, that he will count tiles to see just how much each tile is worth. That's how, and it's crazy because for a brother and sister that live in an apartment together while while the father works overseas and mom works overnights at times, don't really come over. You know, they don't have, their living room don't even have a TV. They don't have a TV in the living room, nothing. You know, this is one bad family. I'm not saying bad, like, oh, they're the worst, but I'm just like, damn, they don't have any downtime against it. They don't have any, like family gatherings. Like, the living room has no TV, so what they do? It's like, when the mother comes in, she goes straight to her room. If Ozu walks in, he goes straight to his room. And Ozuma walk in and go straight. I'm like, damn, this is not crazy, but yeah, it's kind of like, damn. Ozu's been like that. Because if you go back to the first episode, we see Ozu being energetic and friendly. Same goes Uraha. But this is like, remember, this is a flashback. This is how he was. This is how he was before. And then we got to see Uraha the first time in middle school. We saw her the first time, and she looks nothing like we saw in the first episode. It's like, talk about a 180 episode in this. I mean, now we see Uraha in the past, and she's all like quiet, shy. Well, not shy, more like don't give a F face. All just like putting her face to the side like some tsundere powdering and all that. Don't even want to talk to the MC. Don't even want to speak to him, you know? She doesn't even want to. But then we got to see Otari for the first time. We saw Otari the second time, because if you go back to the first episode, we saw her talking to Uraha. So we got to see this. That's her best friend as well. The one that was eating the lollipop. And everyone, now, she's a good girl. I mean, like, yeah, she got suspended multiple times, but not like suspension during the fights. She got suspended for most times because she didn't go to school. She didn't go to her classes. So she's trying to help her. I was like, everyone's looking at her differently because she sees her as a delinquent. Now, Oroha in the flat past Oroha, I'm looking at her. She doesn't look like a delinquent. She don't even want to. She doesn't fit the part of a delinquent, like bad girl anime, like the bad girl. You know what I mean? She doesn't fit like a delinquent, just like skipping classes, or she just doesn't care. Like, no, it's like her life is just meaningless now that she does, like, she's not talking to her brother and all that stuff. And it's kind of sad because her brother don't even know how she is. They've been living for almost like they haven't spoken each other in 2 months. They haven't spoken each other in months. That's kind of messed up if you think about it. That's messed up. Like, I get it. Father works overseas. Mother don't really come in and all that stuff. But again, they don't really communicate like 2 years. 2 months I haven't spoke. But don't know nothing about her. Like that. Really don't. And, so one day Akiteru went to Ozu's house, and his room is completely messy. Every electronics, computers, everything's on the floor. And it's crazy because his room is so messy that he easily know how to walk a path. He easily know how to go through like one way through another in his whole life. Okay, well, I'm just walking this way and then turn left. And like, he's so messy, but he's like, he knows the routes. Like, if the computer's right here, the VCR is here, okay, I'm just gonna walk this way. You see, that's what he does. So, and they started playing games, on the whole gaming vibe. But that's his first friend, and I'm glad they showed us that part because we get to see how these two met. Because I think Akiteru brings so much to Ozu and Oroha, like more talkative and more spiritual, free spirited. Now we know why. Then as he was trying to go to the bathroom, he heard Oroha on the phone talking to Tachibana. Now, Tachibana is a blonde hair girl you're going to see playing that guitar. He opens the door, the lower half of her just like, shut your mouth. Oh my God. That was funny. But Oroha's kind of feisty in this one. Because if you go back to the past, if you go back to the present time, she was all free-spirited, like I said, able to keep talking to people, trolling. But this time in the present, but in the past, she's all like quiet. Don't really care, get out of my face thing. So Akiteru was trying to speak to Tachibana, and again, she's a blonde-haired delinquent type, and she's trying to get Oroha the same thing. Akiteru was trying to get Oroha and Tachibana away from being like delinquents and show you guys have the life. This life that just that which got Akiteru and Ozu got more involved with gaming. Seeing how Akiteru and Ozu love games, like he sees how he plays the games. He's working on like character design. Like Akiteru is working on, in the past he tried to make character-wise and character design, and that didn't work in his department because he's not that kind of a drawer. That's why we got the teacher. And Ozu is great with technology, like programming-wise, so a point that he knows how to make games. The only problem is that the whole acting thing, like music and all that, which brings us to Tachibana and Ura gonna play some games and next week, which makes good because we got to see what makes her into the part of this whole gaming company. It's like watching this, looking at the first episode and then this one. It's like Oroha didn't want to be part of the Fifth Floor Alliance. She never wanted to be part of it. The only reason she's there is because this game that they made in the past just showed us that Akiteru is keeping Oroha away from doing things bad. You know what I'm saying? That's what Akiteru is doing to Oroha. So, and that right there is the point of like, this is why she's falling for him. This is why she's falling for him. Like, you can see it. You can see it coming. Like, this makes absolutely freaking sense. That's great. But overall, though, this episode was really good. I mean, it wasn't that big, like a big old firework good. It was more like a calmly flashback episode that we get to see how Oroha started. And I like characters like that because we're going to see how, like, what make them who they are. Like, what made them this to that. And, again, talk about a 180. I mean, like, literally I'm dead ass. I did not suspect Uraha like that. I did not expect her to be that to a point where I'm like, what? Because the first episode she was all like what she was in the first episode, but in this past, I'm like, that was her? That surprised me. I did not see that coming. I did not suspect that. This talk about a character development / 180 in a heartbeat. So thank you for watching my review of this show. I know we're gonna get more of this episode, more of this flashback, because the flashback ain't done yet. So I'll look forward for next week's episode of it, and I'm sure you will.